Hey, whoa, we're definitely not skipping the intro. Hey, don't you be giving me that look. The intros are cool, okay? Sure, they're useless in the grand scheme of things, and sure they do nothing but waste time, and sure no one really watches them. I forgot where I was going with this. Walked into that one. Intros are that kind of thing that I think is really cool that almost no one cares about. Like, why watch what is essentially a trailer for a game in a game that you already bought? Like, what's the point? That's the fun part. There isn't one. Nah, I'm just kidding. Mostly. So yeah, I get that very few people actually care about them, but I actually think there's a lot of merit to them. They serve as this brief taste of the tone and feel of whatever you're about to play. Sometimes they're wacky and goofy, sometimes they're slow and contemplative, and sometimes they're just a bunch of cutscenes slapped together like I wouldn't notice. Like, oh wow, I wonder where I've seen that before. Regardless of how they're framed, however, having a stylish intro never fails to get me pumped up. Legit, there are some games where I almost never skip the intro while playing them. Oh, what, this game takes 40 hours? Well, it's about to take a lot more, because I have to watch this intro every single time I play it. You see, this kind of thing used to be super common back when I was a kid. Every game had some wacky opening cutscene or rad opening cinematic, and now you turn on a game and it's just very sad. Ooh, this light piano track and still image sure gets me pumped up. Hey, what's going on over there? Holy shit! But there's one series that's kept the trend going since the beginning. One that always made sure to get those bottoms planted firmly in their seats. And that series is Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, baby! Super Smash Bros., everyone's favorite series about assaulting Pichu. Each one has its own intro with its own unique flair and atmosphere and quality. And you might be saying, hey Duo, isn't this kind of a specific thing to make a video on? Are the Smash intros of all things worth making an entire video out of? Well, to answer your question, A, I made a whole video on Yandeko with Sugar Girls, so nothing's off the table. And B, people voted for this on Twitter over a video on Smash stages, so this is what you get. Despite how that sounds, I promise there's actually a point to this, because not only are the Smash intros interesting in their own right, but they tell a story if you look close enough. So sit tight, put on your favorite pair of headphones, and grab a snack, because it's time to talk about some Smasher Masher intros. And I think the only logical place to start is with the very first one. The intro begins with this cute little hand reaching into his toy box and grabbing out a couple toys. A little repositioning here and there, and boom, it's fight time. This was the debut of the whole Smash characters are actually toys angle that the series decreasingly prioritizes as time goes on. I imagine this justification was made just so the Nintendo executives would stop giving Sakurai the side eye while he was showing Mario beating up Yoshi. No, guys, they're just toys. They're just toys, that's all it is. Don't ask why the Peach one has realistic underwear. Regardless of any of that, Smash 64's intro is the perfect example of making the most out of your small budget. Smash 64 was famously made with 2 rubber bands and a wet piece of salami as a budget, and so a huge professional CG intro probably wasn't in the cards. So instead, they used the assets they had to make something that turned out pretty stylish, all things considered. I really like it how they were able to get across the tone of the series being represented, even with these inherently limited visuals. The serious, contemplative Ocarina of Time contrasting with the wacky Yoshi's Island. The space drama Star Fox contrasting with Pikachu looking freaking adorable. It's time for Mario to face his ultimate rival, the one, the only, the pink wad of gum that you just pulled off your shoe. When I think of Mario's rival, Kirby certainly isn't the first character that comes to mind. There's gotta be something there though, because this is also how Subspace Emissary starts, so I don't know what's going on with that. I also love how every character gets a full appearance in the intro, and then the extra characters are just PNGs thrown on the end like, hey guys, I'm here too. Man, imagine just using PNGs in your intro. I mean, who would do something like that? Now, with everything I've said here, you'd think this was the perfect intro, and well, it's not. The one thing I've neglected to mention here, and arguably the most important part for any intro of this type, is the music. And like, okay, some of it sounds alright, I guess, but most of it just sounds like noise for the sake of noise. I noticed it for the first time when I watched somebody cover all the Smash intros back to back, and while most of them sounded really beautiful, the Smash 64 section sounds like a kid wildly slamming piano keys. Still, when everything leads up, that music actually gets decent for a bit, and that intro builds and builds to the climax, ending in it's pure magic. The Smash 64 intro shows a clear want to impress. It gets past its limitations to create a memorable, iconic intro, which is incredibly impressive. And like, that's it, right? This is the best it's gonna get. I can't imagine it get any better than this is the peak of Smash intros. I'm just spoiling it now, but this is my favorite intro of the bunch, and maybe my favorite game intro of all time. From the instant it starts, Mario being flung across the screen, the music firing on all cylinders, quick pause, and here's a much more fitting rival for Mario. From there, we just get cinematic after cinematic based on all these franchises. And just like 64's, each one perfectly embodies the tone and feel of the franchise. The epicness of Zelda, the sci-fi action of Metroid, and the uselessness of Ice Climbers, it's all here. I don't think I've ever seen the Mario series look this cool, and that's my freaking boy right there. Even with the wackier series, everything here is just portrayed with this air of elegance, like none of these franchises are less important than each other. I also like how they just randomly throw Donkey Kong screaming in the middle of the intro. That was, vital, I assure you. And I'll admit, maybe I'm a little biased considering this was my first Smash game. But having an intro like this just gives the game a sense of scale, a sense of grandeur that you wouldn't get without this kind of intro. It makes the game feel like you're gonna experience the coolest thing ever made. And some may say that's actually true. And I'd like to note right here that this is the only time they animated an intro from scratch. No reused assets, no reused trailers, this cinematic was crafted painstakingly just to impress the viewer right out the gate. If you don't know, Sakurai was under an incredibly tight schedule while developing this game, so much to the point where he was working for 40 hours straight only to go home and sleep for 4. This intro in specific was something Sakurai was desperate to get right, spending so much time on it that he literally collapsed as the recording wrapped up, and while that's horrible, he knew it was important to get it right, because not only would this be most players' first introduction to Melee, but it'd also be the world's first introduction to Melee. E3 2001 rolled around and Nintendo was showing off GameCube games left and right, but as soon as that intro started, you could feel the energy in the room. And when that music builds to its thrilling conclusion, Donkey Kong fucking dying and all, there's nothing better.
Super Smash Bros. Melee!
So the question is, where do you go from here? I mean, I don't want to disappoint anyone, but it seems like we've kind of peaked here. Well, we'd have to wait until March 9th, 2009 to find out the answer. Wait a minute, those are just the cutscenes from Subspace again. Alright, so I'll admit it's a little disappointing to go this route. I mean, when I first played it, I was super impressed by how these visuals looked until I played Subspace and realized, oh no, they really did just take all of these cutscenes right from there. But I don't think it's without its merits, you know? So firstly, if you're gonna go the whole re-edited cutscenes route, there's a lot of ways to do it and they don't always work. It's kind of like editing an AMV. You gotta force fit scenes together that feel like they match up with the tone of the music, which judging by the amount of poor AMVs on YouTube, isn't the easiest thing to do. But nah, they do a pretty good job here. The cutscenes and gameplay snippets are mixed together super well, ebbing and flowing with the music in the background. Like, they don't show Yoshi sleeping while the music's like, or the more action-oriented scenes during the quiet parts of the track. Everything just flows together, which is nice. Though I do love how just when the music's building up, they make sure to sneak in a scene of DDD slapping his belly, which I assure you is vital to this intro succeeding. And while on its own, the intro would be, like, fine, but nothing special, the thing that absolutely carries this is the track in the background. Brawl's main theme just freaking slaps so hard, dude. You have the epic vocals, the orchestral background instruments, and a tone that slowly transitions to slower, more meaningful sections, allowing the track to reverberate in the viewer's head before slowly but surely building and building until we reach the climax of the song, ending in the halberd? Like, why is this the last 2 shots? Is it that impactful? No, not really, it's kinda lame. But still, I'm okay with how this turned out. Sure, reusing cutscenes is a little less than ideal, but those cutscenes come from Subspace, and I freaking love Subspace. I also made a video on it. And if the sacrifice to a bigger, more ambitious game was some reused cutscenes in the intro, then you know what? I'll take it. You like ambition? You like it when the series is pushing itself to its absolute limit? Well, you should probably go somewhere else because we're about to talk about Smash 4. I can't wait to see what amazing intro they came up with. I'm so pumped. Yeah, baby, woo! Okay, that doesn't really count. So let's hope the real intro is a little bit better. You know what? It's on me. I set the bar too low. I'm gonna preface this section with this. I like Smash 4. I might be the only person in existence who likes it, but I like Smash 4. That being said, this intro is one of the laziest, most slapped together, if I saw this as a fan-made AMV, I'd throw it in the garbage-ass intros I've ever seen. So let's start with the positives. I like the music. This transition at the end is pretty cute. I like Pikachu face planting, that's pretty cool. Oh boy. So, this intro, if you haven't noticed, is just a collection of random gameplay snippets and trailers for the newcomers just awkwardly slapped together. And like, it's not even done that well either. They use footage from trailers with completely different styles right next to each other. The gameplay snippets have like no purpose at all, and the whole thing just feels kind of cheap, honestly. They have this whole section where it's just random final smashes tossed together, which looks horrible. And then for one of them, we see Crom, Mr. I'm gonna Crum's big ass face for like a second, and we don't even see the rest of the final smash. And the third party section is just so fucked. Like, Sonic and Pac-Man get 2 seconds, but Mega Man, oh, he gets everything. And like, okay, I maybe get Sonic getting the shorter one, he was already in Brawl, but like, Pac-Man's new here. Why is he getting treated like leftover garbage while Mega Man gets that king shit? Doesn't make any sense to me. The intro starts with Shulk of all characters, which, you know what, actually deserved Fight Me. But still, this intro just reeks of cheapness. But I think I know why the intro's like this. In 64, Melee, and Brawl, the focus of the games themselves was to push the envelope, so to speak. These weren't just massive crossovers. With each one, you could see these games pushing things further and further, adding more content, more modes, just more stuff overall. And so these intros reflected that. With Smash 4, however, the priority shifted heavily to, hey guys, look at how many characters we can cram into this box! And suddenly, ambition only mattered in regards to the number of new franchises introduced. In reflecting that philosophy perfectly, Smash 4's intro pretty much has no ambition outside of showing off a bunch of characters. The music's good, but as for the intro itself, D tier at best. And all that leaves is the currently final game in the series, Super Smash Bros Ultimate. What? What? Me? Nah, I'd never do something like that. The Ultimate intro is really lame. Alright, so I know that'll be a bit of a controversial statement, but like, come on, man. This intro, outside of the brief snippets from World of Light, is nothing but gameplay clips, which if you don't know, is my least favorite part of all of these intros. The intros began relying more and more on gameplay as time went on, and this is the culmination of all of that. And like, on surface level, a lot of this seems pretty good. The shots are clean, every character gets some rep, they even have a whole ass vocal theme playing in the background, which is actually really rad. Like, that all seems great, so what else could I want? Oh, yeah. That. With every entry after Melee, they put less and less effort in, slowly removing any original elements. Brawl I'll give a pass to since Subspace was so ambitious in its own right that I think it's a fair sacrifice, but Smash 4 and Ultimate don't have that excuse. Now, to give Smash Ultimate some credit, at least they just stuck with gameplay instead of doing whatever the heck they did with Smash 4. And like, some of these shots are cool, getting to see my boy Shulk, my boy Riddles McGriddles, Pikachu's the main character, I guess. This is a weird shot. Like, it's not bad, but it's not really impressive. And I think it's weird because they did this whole animation for this commercial and yet they couldn't do any of that for Ultimate. In the end though, I think it's just the conclusion of the series' progression. 64 introduced the formula, trying its best to impress with what little it had. Melee and Brawl pushed the formula forward, introducing more and more ambition, not just character-wise, but content-wise as well. But eventually, Nintendo realized that all people really cared about was how much they could jam in character-wise, and thus Smash 4 and Ultimate end up with intros that emphasize their priority, the number of characters they cram in. But you know, it's kind of cool that these intros do something like this, that they tell a little narrative about the priority of the series as it goes on. It just sucks that the priority is less focused on the intros themselves and more on a bunch of characters. And like, in the end, it doesn't really matter. They're just dumb little intros, and even at their worst, I appreciate that they're at least there, but I kind of miss the oomph we got back with ones like Melee, you know what I'm saying? Like, nowadays it's less oomph and more oof, if you know what I'm saying. And since I know somebody's gonna ask, my ranking would probably go Melee, and then Brawl, and then 64, and then Ultimate, and then Smash 4, and then 3DS if that counts, I guess. But I promise this video has a purpose. I wasn't just making it for fun. I've talked a whole lot in this video about ambition, so I think it's time I put my money where my mouth is and talk about the most ambitious one of the bunch.